The IBN Independent Broadcast Network presents, live from Chisel Multimedia Studios, the Chris Massey Atlanta Music Show. Here's your host, Chris Massey.
I'm Chris Massey, and welcome to the Chris Massey Atlanta Music Show here on the IBN Independent Broadcast Network. We're coming to you live tonight from our Chisel Multimedia Studios here in Atlanta, Georgia. And tonight is episode 1 of season 1. That's right, we're kicking off a brand new show, the Chris Massey Atlanta Music Show. Now, we're going to be coming to you on the second Friday of every month at 7 p.m. You can find the show on YouTube as well as on Facebook. So tell everybody out there, hey, if you want to know what's going on in the Atlanta music scene, you need to check out the Chris Massey Atlanta Music Show. Well, listen, it's almost springtime, and I got to tell you, there is no place like the city of Atlanta during the springtime. There's festivals going on everywhere. People are out and about up and down Peachtree Street, and it's also that time of year when a lot of suburbanites decide to make that big move to the city. Now, I tell you, I've been a Midtown resident for a number of years, and the other day I was in my building, and I got on the elevator, and there was a realtor on there, and she was giving this young man a real hard sell about why he should buy into our building. She was mentioning things like there's a drugstore and a grocery store just 2 blocks away. That you're within walking distance of Centennial Park, Bobby Dodge Stadium, Piedmont Park. The Fox Theater is right next door. And there's over 50 places where you can get something to eat within a half a mile of the building. You're also within walking distance of a post office, a dry cleaners, and a car wash. Now, when she said that, I so desperately wanted to ask her, could you please explain to me what is the benefit of living walking distance from a car wash? For crying out loud. I mean, the whole purpose of the car wash is to take your car to the car wash. Now, I've seen a lot of strange things since I've lived in the city, but I have never seen anybody walk in their car to the car wash. Now, you can push your car. Maybe that's what she meant, that when it's on a nice day and you want to get some exercise, you can just push your car down to the car wash. But for some reason, I don't really think that's a benefit. Now, she didn't mention some of the other benefits of living in Midtown, like the daily interaction with the homeless people, or the screaming sirens that fly up and down North Avenue at all hours of the night, or how on the day of the Gay Pride Parade you are trapped in your house all day long, or that the Varsity is only 2 blocks away and it is virtually impossible to not walk down there at least once a week and get a chili dog and a fried peach pie. Now, I know many of you are asking, Chris, well, why do you live in the city? Well, there's 4 reasons why I live in the city. Number 1 is this: I don't like to do any yard work. I just don't like to do it. When I go to dinner, I like to make reservations. The last thing I want to do is be standing in a parking lot like a herd of cattle with a beeper waiting 45 minutes for a table at Longhorn. Okay? I like the fact that when I walk out my front door, I just look around and I am instantly reminded that this planet was not made just for white people. All right? And last but not least, just like watching fireworks, I find peace and quiet to be an overrated experience. Okay, we got a great show for you tonight. I've got Juliet Mansour, a street photographer, and Steven Skipper, lead singer of the Street Fighting Band. Stick around, it's going to be a good one. We'll be right back. Okay, that video clip you were watching there was the great Atlanta band, the Roys, from the early 1980s. That video was taken at the 1983 Atlanta Arts Festival. What a great time that was for Atlanta music. The Arts Festival went on for a week. It was in the springtime. And every year, one day a week, they would have local music playing in there in the park. The guy that you saw making those cool reggae sounds on that Fender Stratocaster were none other than the late, great Peter V. Peter passed away a couple of years. On bass, you had Alan Venice, also known as A-Roy, and Glenn Fox on the drums, also known as Froggy. The Roys were one of the biggest bands that could pack them out at the Agora Ballroom, the 688 Club, the Bistro, and the old Moonshada Saloon over on Johnson Road. During their time together, they opened up for such acts like XTC, U2, the Go-Go's, Public Image Limited, Joan Jett, and one night even opened up for the godfather of soul himself, James Brown. So anyway, every month on the show, we're going to be spotlighting a classic video of an Atlanta local band, and tonight we did the Roys. Okay, my first guest tonight is a very talented street photographer, and if you don't know what street photography is, you're fixing to find out, and she's very good at it, and we're so glad to have her here. Would you please welcome Miss Juliette Mansour? Hey, Juliette. Hey, honey. Come on in. Have a seat there.
Made it.
Yes. We've been trying to get you on the show for what? A couple years, right?
Yeah.
A couple years.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So tell me a little bit about. First off, tell me about the origins of street photography. When did it start, and kind of what is the history of it?
You know, you could say that street photography started so long ago that there's no actual recorded history of it.
When the camera was invented.
Well, yeah. I mean, who knows how long people have been so enamored with the daily life of city people or the townspeople that they weren't doing the same thing that I'm doing right now.
Right.
So, but probably the grandfather of all street photographers was a documentary photographer. His name was Henri Cartier-Bresson. The difference between documentary, by the way, and street photography, documentary tends to be more go out there and get newsworthy type photos, whereas street photography, just a little mini lesson. All it is, Chris, is just you're going out and you're waiting for something really cool to happen.
I got you.
That demonstrates daily life.
Okay.
It could be funny. It could be endearing. But it's never staged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
In the moment, kind of.
Now, how long have you been doing it?
Well, probably since 2005.
Okay.
When I first got back with my camera.
All right.
Got reacquainted with all of that and started taking it more seriously.
Now, is this something that you do more in an urban area, or can it be anywhere?
Well, there's a lot of debate about that. Actually, a lot of people, a lot of photographers actually can, go to swimming pools and take photographs and call it street photography, or, they do festivals or concerts. Classic street is you go down to an urban area.
Okay.
Like I'll go down to the Fox when everybody's coming out, summertime, coming
Right.
out of a play or something, and I wait.
I got you. Okay.
I wait for the right moment.
All right. Now, and we were talking about this when I was talking to you beforehand about how in rock photography or music photography, when I've done some album covers and they come out and it's just click, 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 click.
Right.
They take like 80 pictures of you,
yeah.
Hoping to get one good one. Mm-hmm. But you were telling me with street photography, it's more about capturing that moment and making the shot really count.
It is. So I run a street photography group. We're kind of dormant right now, but we're about to kick off again for the spring. And what we do is we'll go down, for example, to the MARTA station.
Okay.
And we'll just hang out and wait. And you could sit there and wait all day. The light's not right, or that the person that you were hoping might cross just in front of that perfect, geometric situation didn't walk in front of it. And so you've lost a shot. Now it's been an hour. Or you could get really lucky and a lot of things are all happening at once. The light's perfect.
Okay.
Everything's lined up. So it depends on the situation.
Okay. Now, is the lighting a lot like shooting film? Because I was unaware of this, but the young lady that was in our Too High to Cry video is a Hollywood actress, and she'd been to film school at Florida State, and she was telling us that early morning and evening is the prime time to be shooting film.
That's right.
Which I thought it would be like in the middle of the day when the light's really good, and that is absolutely the worst time.
Same applies.
Is what they're saying.
Yeah, same applies to photography.
Okay.
And they have the blue hour too, which is really cool. If you've ever been on the beach and you wait until, it's right about 7 o'clock in the summertime, the sky will just turn blue. It's a really cool time to get a nice backdrop and
I got you.
Things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I think we have some photos here we're going to take a look at.
Okay.
Matt, can we pull one up? There we go. Tell me a little bit about this shot here.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of I really didn't see it coming, and I was in the right place at the right time. What Henri Cartier-Bresson would call the decisive moment, where you just got to make a decision right at that very moment. I was in Toronto at the train station, and I looked up, and I had to really work fast because it was really dark in there.
Okay.
And I did not have a flash. I don't work with flash. It's just not my thing. So I had to kind of dial down and get everything adjusted just right. Took the shot, and that was actually in one of my shows, and it's now hanging on my wall in my home.
Great contrast of color in that shot with the yellow background and the plaids on the skirts and the dark colors.
Yeah, perfect.
Very cool.
And it's a perfect little Halloween shot because if you actually zoom in there, you can see. The two of the girls are dressed up for Halloween.
Okay, all right. Let's take a look at another one, Matt. Okay, what we have here?
So another one, just like the previous one, I was in Italy, in Florence, at a church, and just kind of meandering around looking for people, looking for situations, and here's this cop sitting outside, a pizza place, an ice cream shop, and he just looked so... like he had stepped out of another era. He was sitting by himself, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go get a shot of him. I'm going to make it just so, because photography is also about things like lines and intersecting lines and repeating patterns and things like that. So I'm looking for the composition, and then all of a sudden this kid runs out.
So you were already setting up for the shot, and the kid walked into the frame.
He walked in.
That is awesome, and look at you got him right at the right time.
Right.
Like he's very curious. About this guy sitting there. That is awesome.
And what I love about that too is that it just like I think you can sort of relate to this. Any artist, it's not you doing it. It's not you creating it. It just happened, and I was just there to witness it. So I like to talk about my art in that sense that it's not something that I create, it's something that evolves that I'm just witnessing.
And that's a lot like songwriting too. I mean, usually for me, or a lot of times, it's just one line. One line will come into your head, and then it's harder to not write the song than it is to write it, because you get the idea. Something pops into your head, and
it's your muse.
And then you pick up the guitar, and you're able to put a melody, and you get a couple lines, and then you put the guitar away, and you might pick it up the next day, or you might write the whole song that night, But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Okay, we got another one, Matt?
So,
all right.
This one, I had started dabbling in film again back in 2012 or thereabouts. I got really, really hardcore into film again. And this is when I was starting to really appreciate color and shoot a lot of color film. And I went to Key West. I was just kind of walking down the street. Here was this couple. I didn't show the other picture of his partner there, but she was amazing. Just like all these wrinkles in her face, white hair. She was sitting right next to him. And I just started talking to him, which is something else that you do a lot if you're a good street photographer, is you make friends with the person that you may take a street portrait of.
Sure. Okay.
It's not always from a distance doing candid shots. Sometimes it's like, there's something interesting about you. Like if you were on the street and I didn't know you, I'd say, hey, you know what? I really like the way that, your goatee matches like what you're wearing and you have the hat. And
I got you.
Can I take your picture? But before that, I'd strike up a conversation. So these guys were so cool and so mellow, and they said, yeah, sure, we'll pose for you.
Okay.
And there you have it.
All right, and bring us back, Matt. Now let me ask you, these pictures you just showed me were in Toronto and Italy and Key West. Do you travel for the purpose of taking pictures, or do you just go places and you just happen to have your camera with you?
Well, I didn't start out traveling for that purpose, but now it's become a thing, right?
Okay.
So now
All right.
I save all of my images in folders, and I'm like, okay.
And
I got
hopefully all
these
your receipts, it's a business expense. It's a business trip.
All of
Yeah.
these, country names are starting to line up, and city names. Some of them are repeated, obviously, Florida, or
Sure. Okay.
Colombia, because I'm of Colombian descent, so I go down there a lot.
Okay.
So I love, that's the two things I love more than anything in the world is traveling, getting to know other cultures.
Okay.
And, coupling that with photography too.
So tell people out there where we can find some of your work.
So casadresden.com, that's the name of my freelance business. And julietmansour.com is the spot I dedicate solely to photography as an artist.
I got you.
Yeah.
Any galleries or anything? You're going to have anything in coming up anytime soon?
I have taken a hiatus, as you know, for probably the past year, but I'm about to start ramping up on that.
Okay.
So,
Right. Well, you'll have to let me know, and we'll be sure to announce it here on the show.
Okay.
Where you're going to have something.
I love that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much for coming.
much.
Juliet Mansour, everybody. We'll be right back. The video you were just watching there was the street fighting band doing the Rolling Stones classic Rocks Off from the Exile on Main Street album at Mad Life Studios out in Woodstock. Now my guest tonight is the frontman for the street fighting band, one of the best Rolling Stone tribute bands, maybe the best Rolling Stone tribute band that's going. It's definitely here in Georgia and probably across the country. Would you please welcome to the Chris Massey Atlanta Music Show, Mr. Steven Skipper. Big man.
Hey, Chris.
Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Have a seat, dude. All right, now, I had you on the show about maybe 3-4 years ago at the old network. Right. And at that time, you had a band called the Jagged Stones.
Right.
And you were going through legal battles over the name with your guitar player.
Right.
Now, I'm just guessing, because the name of the band is a street fighting band, you either lost the case or you said to hell with it and you just picked up and started something new.
Well, actually, I gave him the name, but he wanted $300,000, and we didn't give him any money. So
$300,000.
You can have the name, just go away. But
okay. Well, for the record, I like the street fighting band a little bit better.
Yeah,
I do.
Okay.
Now, back then, you guys were starting to make a little bit of noise, but the tribute band craze had not picked up full speed then like it has now. I mean, now it's big. I mean, there are bars out there that don't do anything but book tribute bands. And I know, because as a guy that plays original music, I'm out there trying to get gigs against some of you guys. And it's tough, man, because you draw big crowds. People come, they drink, they dance, they have a good time. The music's great. And so it's a win-win for you and the club owner, I would think.
Yes, I think so too. But the music is what it is. It's so good.
Exactly.
And I'm doing the best band in the world.
Yes, you got a kick band. You got Doug Keys
I've got Doug
and Bruce Smith and Fred McNeil, all Atlanta veteran musicians. And who's the cat you got on drums?
Jimmy Ginn on drums.
Jimmy
and
Ginn.
Asher McKinney on keyboards.
On keyboards, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and when you need a little of that Bobby Keys saxophone, you can supply that yourself.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so you got the whole deal there, you know, except the backup singers. Now you've done some gigs with those too, have you not?
I have had I had 13 people on stage one time with Strand.
Okay. Now you guys just aren't playing clubs. I mean, look, you're playing the City Winery, you're playing Madeline Studios, you're playing the Vista Room, you're playing the Amphitheater out in Winery. You're playing some of the biggest venues in the city, and people are filling them up. Am I right about that?
Not all the time, but I mean, some of the places, and we do well at some. I guess, you know, we try and get the people out there, and if I think it's promoted right by the clubs and stuff, it's a lot better. You know?
But you know, the thing is everybody loves the Rolling Stones. I have never heard anybody in my life say, I can't stand the Rolling Stones.
I've met a few people that, didn't really care for their music. They thought they were too, I guess, decadent. I don't know.
Well, they're probably not what I call a real music fan. I mean, you know, if all those albums you can't find 10 songs you like, I don't know what to tell you.
I agree.
I don't know what to tell you.
I like every one of them.
Exactly, you know. So, talking about that, what kind of a catalog you guys got? How many tunes y'all know?
Probably about 50 total.
50 songs. And this goes all the way back. Do you do any of the like blues stuff they did on their first album? Like Walking the Dog or Route 66 or any of that kind of stuff? Do you go back that far?
No, we did go back pretty far, though. We
of course you do Satisfaction, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 65.
Last time. Time is on my side.
Time is on my side. Okay. All right.
And but I love that early.
And you go all the way up to the Tattoo You album?
Yeah, Tattoo, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like Waiting on a Friend.
Which is considered the last record that had what you would call a rock and roll classic on.
Yeah,
you don't get much. You don't
Rescue
get.
wasn't bad, and Voodoo Lounge was a good album.
Good album. Yeah, that's true.
Bigger Bang was a good
But from
album.
Steel Wheels on, you don't really hear much of that stuff on the radio.
No, I mean we did Mixed Emotions for a while, but
Okay.
No, we dropped it.
So if you're playing a one set show, which I know a lot of your shows are, let's say you're playing for an hour, okay, or an hour and a half. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I heard Mick Jagger say one time that when they play, that they got like 12 songs that they do every tour. Every tour they're going to do these 12. They're going to do Brown Sugar. They're going to do Jumpin' Jack Flash. They're going to do Honky Tonk Woman. And then everything else is up for debate. I'll give you an example. When I saw them on the Steel Wheels tour at Grant Field back in 1989, they played 2,000 Light Years from Home.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
On that tour.
Yes.
On that tour, you know. And then Keith, one year I saw them, they did Happy. Another year I saw them, they did She's My Little DNA, you know, and then they'll do Before They Make Me Run. It just, do you guys do that? Do you mix the songs up like that?
Yeah, we try to. I'd never heard a little D and A.
Oh.
You talk about a little T and A.
T and A. That's right.
That's good. What's the D for?
Well, you know, little DNA, you know, he might have committed a crime or something there. There you go.
Right.
There you go.
No, we like, you know, there's certain songs, at least for me, that, I mean.
That are a must.
That just get me going. Brown Sugar is one.
Right.
Jumpin' Jack Flash, yes, but Little Queenie, we've been.
I saw some video of that, the old Chuck Berry tune.
It's a great song.
They did. Yeah.
And of course the slow numbers.
Wild Horses, Angie, you guys do that?
Yes. Yeah.
Wild Horses and Angie, okay.
Makes me cry.
That's some good stuff right there.
It's good stuff. Yeah, all of them are good though.
So, how much time have you spent watching video of Mick Jagger?
I don't know. You know, it's hard to say.
Because I got to tell you, you got the eye rolls, the way you roll your eyes, and all that stuff. You got them down. And I imagine, you know, and like me, you're no spring chicken. You probably have to watch what you eat. You have to work out a little back because nobody wants fat Mick Jagger.
No, nobody wants a chubby Mick Jagger.
So you have to stay on top of that as well. I
try, you know. It's tough, you know.
Yeah.
The older you get, tougher it gets.
Oh, absolutely. absolutely.
I do okay, I guess. A lot of moisturizer. You know.
So do you guys got an agent booking you guys now, or are you doing it, or
we do
how's it working
have a
out?
gentleman by the name of Scott Crawford that has been booking us some, and then but we have some other people that I do a little bit of booking.
Right.
And my drummer Jimmy Gann does some, and we'd like to be a little busier, I guess. You know.
How many shows you do last year?
I don't know. I can't keep up with that. I don't know. I haven't even. It's probably a good many, but not as many as I'd like. I'd like to play at least twice a month at a nice theater or festival.
Yeah, and that's 24 a year. Yeah, if you do twice, and that's almost one every other week. You know,
Yeah.
by the end of the year.
Last year we did more than that, but I think we had some busier weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I've slowed it down some. We do about 15 to 20. 20 is a lot for me, you know, considering that I have a business to run and all the other stuff that I've got to do. We try to do a road trip to Florida every year, play a few dates down there for a weekend, you know, or something like that. And then, you know, we're writing music and working on the next record is kind of what keeps my band driving, more so than, because you know how it is. You got guys playing with you, you ain't getting gigs, they're going to lose interest.
That's the truth.
You know, you got to keep them. And sometimes I'll say, well, that's not as much money as I wanted, but I need to get the guys out on stage, so you know, we're going to go ahead and do it anyway.
Yeah, you need to be out there, you know, and be
Right.
playing around, so people forget about you.
Yeah. So how long you been doing the Rolling Stone thing now?
I think I started in 2010.
2010.
You know, with the first band.
Okay. How old were you when you first noticed that you might look a little like Mick Jagger?
And you know, people ask me that. It wasn't in high school.
Okay.
It was,
Isn't it weird how
40s.
how people see that? You know, like people.
The older I get, the more I look
See,
like
all
it.
my life I have been told that I have got a raspy, scratchy voice. It doesn't sound that way to me.
No.
It doesn't sound like. It just sounds like a normal speaking voice.
No.
Even when I'm hearing it when I'm singing.
Like a normal good country singer.
But I've been told that my whole life. You know, but I don't hear it like that. You know.
I hear my voice a lot. I don't know. I don't hear it as low as it is to other people, I think. It's
Okay.
a pretty low voice.
Well, it's kind of a scary thing hearing yourself on tape anyway. You know, and even
Yes,
some people
it
like
is.
John Lennon did not like to hear his voice. And Jimi Hendrix absolutely was terrified at the way he sang. Yeah, he did not like the way he sang at all. So
If I'm singing good and I sound good, I can deal with it. And of course, I want to sound kind of like Mick, right?
right, well, you do a good job of that.
I want to thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I try.
You do a good job of that.
Yeah,
Well, and the
good
band
job
is
with
the
it.
band has got now. I got to ask you now because I am not a guitar player. I'm a songwriter, but you guys are using open tuning on the guitars, right?
Yes.
To get that Rolling Stone sound.
Yep. Fred
Right.
McNeil.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. You got to have that open tuning because you can play it with it not being open tuning and it won't sound right.
No.
I see bands do it all the time.
Yeah.
They do it all the time, you know, and that was the same deal that the Black Crowes used that trick
Mm-hmm.
on all their stuff. You know, I think Rich Robinson's playing open tuning, and that's why it
Right.
sounds so much like the Rolling Stones.
I guess that's
you
why
know?
the Stones really like the Black Crowes too, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's the same concept, pretty much. Just a little later down the road, you know.
Well, you know, I'm just Fred McNeil is a monster on guitar.
Yes, and he plays with the Georgia Satellites as well, and
Yeah.
so does Bruce.
So is Bruce Smith, Mr. Rock and Roll.
Yeah, well, they're probably doing more gigs with you than they are with Rick these days. Aren't they?
Rick, I don't know. I mean, that works out real well.
Right.
I think Rick has a certain time of year that he.
Yeah, they're busier.
Yeah.
State fairs and festivals and stuff like
Right.
that. More in the hotter months,
Right.
I would imagine.
Rick and I go way back, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was jamming with the Catfish back in the day.
Right.
Yeah,
We actually played tennis against each other in our senior year.
is that right?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to McEachern.
McEachern.
He went to
It's Sprayberry. That's right. That's right. Okay.
And, I hate to admit it, but he beat me that day.
Well, he probably won't hate to admit it. So.
No, not Rick.
So now you got this show coming up in Winder at an
yes.
amphitheater.
Right.
Now these are really big in Gwinnett County. These amphitheater shows, people come out, they bring the kids, They bring the lawn chairs and they get settled in there. I know they do it at Sugarloaf, and I think there's one in Duluth, and then there's one in Winder.
Woodstock now.
There's one in Woodstock. Yeah, there's one out there. And you usually, you're talking about, 1,500, 2,000 people at these things sometimes.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure. It's a big stage.
Big stage, and they provide the sound and all that stuff for you guys?
It's Innovation Amphitheater in Winder.
Yes, okay. All right, and that is what date?
April the 13th.
April
and then
13th.
we'll be at Vinkman's April 12th.
How's that venue? I haven't been there. Is that a good one?
I haven't played there yet.
Oh, is that right?
Right.
Is that right?
Been there.
I don't think they have music all the time. I think it's kind of
I'm not sure about that.
a spot thing, So, but I got to get out and see you. Every time I get ready to go,
I came
something
to see
happens. You did. You showed up at the Hard Rock the night that we were having
it was
the
a great show.
release party.
It really was.
Thank you.
Enjoyed that.
And
I
what I noticed is that most of the time when musicians come to see you, they're just kind of like this. They're not dancing. They're not clapping their hands, and usually they don't really tell you it was really good. That's just kind of
it really was.
That's just kind of the way it is. If they don't tell you, now they'll tell you if it's bad, but So I was tickled to death to see you there that night, and glad you got to see me.
I was glad to come, man.
And I'll be calling you so I can get that special backstage treatment. At one of your
It's not like
shows.
the real Rolling Stones, man. No snooker tables.
Yeah,
big
but
bowls
it's
full of
as
stuff.
close as I'm gonna get, So anyway.
But his new CD is awesome.
Well, thank you, Steve.
And my heart really is into that country music thing.
Oh yeah. Well, the Stones are into that stuff too. I know you do some of them country numbers. They do. Dead Flowers. I'm sure y'all do that.
Dead Flowers. We used to Sweet Virginia.
Sweet Virginia. That's a good one. That's a good one. So look, I want to just congratulate you on your success, because when you were on the show before, you were a little down on what was happening. You really weren't sure what's happening. And I imagine that what has happened is something that you didn't even imagine at that time.
That's right. It's come a lot further than I ever thought it would.
That's right.
Especially with the musicians I have
Yeah.
around me, surrounding me.
That's right.
And,
Well, they don't call the Rolling
incredible.
Stones the greatest rock and roll band for nothing. People love the music, and you guys are delivering a superior product. So, I mean, to me, you can probably do it as long as you want.
I'm going to do it as long as I can.
Mick's 73, he's still doing it, so you probably got a few years before you're that old,
I do. I have a few.
All right, thank you, Steven Skipper.
Thank you,
Steven
Chris.
Skipper, everybody. We'll be right back.
The sun is sinking slow in the desert sky.
That's how they got that sound on.
Another day has come and gone by.
There's some great street photography in this video.
Here I sit without you, drinking my wine. California country in the summertime. I can hear the freeway outside my door.
That's me.
A voice inside me says she couldn't take no more.
Different studios.
I'd pack up and leave, where would I go?
And, the longer you do it, the better you get. I mean, that record.
This California country is all I know. There's no reason to the why.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
For the note you left, I read and I said goodbye.
sinking in the desert sky.
Here with me in the California country.
Hey, when will this be showing the first time?
This is a guitar, that is not a mandolin. You did that on the Telecaster. All right, we're back. You just saw the video from my new album, California Country. That is the title track, California Country. You can find the album on iTunes and on Spotify. Please feel free to download it. It's all about getting the music out there and for people to listen to it. And if you like it, be sure to share it with your friends. Right off the cuff, I can tell you that the Chris Massey Band will be at Styx in Villa Rica tonight. And then we will be at the Buford American Legion on March 23rd. The Moonshadow Tavern in Tucker on April 6th. We'll be doing a show with the Downtown Executives. May 2nd, we're going to be playing a special Thursday night show at the Star Bar with Truck Stop Confidential and another band that escapes me at the moment. And then on Sunday, July 21st at 5:30 in the afternoon till 9:30 that night, we're going to be at Darwin's over in Sandy Springs. So that's where you can catch the Chris Massey Band. You can find all the Chris Massey Band information at www.reverbnation.com/Chris Massey Band. So I want to end the show tonight with some information that I'm sure that most of you do not know. Because this is, you can find all kinds of things on the internet. I came across this today. Did you know that in the United States of America last year, 40,000 people were injured going to the toilet? Can you believe that? 40,000 people. Now let me break that down for you. That comes out to 109 people a day, okay? That is 4.5 every hour and 1 every 15 minutes. Since we started this show, 2 people have got injured going to the toilet. Now, this crazy thing about this is this, like when you go to the beach, everybody is a little shark conscious, right? I mean, you look out there, make sure the water's good, there's no flags, everything's kind of cool. Last year in America, 13 people were bitten by sharks, and 40,000 people were injured going to the toilet. Now, I have never gone into a bathroom and saw warning signs or caution signs or anything like that. But maybe they should put that in there. And there's been people that have died on the toilet. Famous people. Elvis Presley died on the toilet. King George II died on the toilet. Lenny Bruce died on the toilet. Did you know that, Matt?
I did not.
Did you know that? Lenny Bruce and Elvis Presley, if anybody ever asks you what they have in common, you can say that they both died on the toilet. So, I mean, you got to be, what I'm trying to say is this, folks. You have got to be careful everywhere you go, okay? Don't ever take anything for granted, and no matter what you're doing, keep your shit together. All right, we'll be back next month on April 9th when my guest will be Daryl Rhodes. We'll see you then.